What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Going Super Affiliate series. Last week, we talked about the foundation. We talked about what it takes to really take your business to the next level, starting with your mindset, starting with skills on how to invite, how to build up leaders. And as I told you guys, each week, we're going to interview different leaders. We're going to talk about, different ways that you guys can build your businesses, but then just understand the relationship side of these different leaders that you guys see here with Akashics, with 1M. And today I have the opportunity to speak with my friend, Ali Saleh. This guy, is 250K affiliate, and he is, helping on the corporate side of things. He's in the trenches. He's in everybody's downline. He's helping everybody in the company. And, he's an incredible leader that just wants to see people win. But here's the point that I want to talk about today. This guy has gone through some of the toughest times that I think I've seen in the industry. So I want to dive into his story. I want to talk about his highs, but I also want to talk about the betrayals, the setbacks, and how it's given him strength to be able to rebuild and also be able to thrive. But before we jump into that, let's kick it off with something just a little bit lighter. So what's a little fun fact? What's something that most people just don't know about you?
Well, first, Maddie, I want to just say thank you so much, bro, for, kind of pioneering this whole thing here at Akashics, man. Like, none of this stuff would be possible without you. Congrats on hitting super affiliate, bro, and just taking your time to really put something like this together for us, the field, and for all the future people who will be here. So, bro, huge shout out to you and all the success that you've created.
Appreciate it.
A fun fact about me that a lot of people don't know
is... It's a tough question.
It really is. I mean, I kind of want to answer this to like kind of frame it to what we're talking about here today. It's like I actually get crazy social anxiety. So like even when I go on stage or when I go to masterminds and stuff, I'm always in my head kind of like second guessing myself, And but it's always about overcoming your fears, right? And facing that adversity head on. So that's something I think interesting about me. That
I'm willing to bet that most people, when they see you on stage or even when they sit next to you, they definitely probably never notice that.
Yeah, probably not.
You never give off that vibe.
But I'm freaking out sometimes.
As we're sitting here. Guys, I'm going to speak right from my phone. Obviously, this is raw. This is uncut. We're going to give you guys just the real stuff. I have some questions written down. Want to make sure that I touch on the right things. But the whole point of this layout is because we don't want to come off as like super professional. Like we want to give you guys, the whole point of this is just to be real and just to give you guys what's ever on the top of our heads and just provide you guys that value. So one of the questions I guess we'll kick it off with is, the industry obviously has not been very kind to you.
Yeah.
You've gone through a lot of things. If you don't mind just sharing briefly, what's kind of happened in your previous companies?
Yeah, I mean, look, like that's a really, good question and a lot to kind of unpack there. But like 30,000 feet above, when I got started in the industry in 2020, like I was still very new and I didn't really understand that there's a game here in the network marketing industry. And I just took everything at face value. I was very naive. So I was believing what everyone was telling me. I just thought like, okay, these people are good like me, so I could just trust people blind faith. And I think the biggest thing that kind of put me in positions to kind of face some of those adversities was I didn't really challenge what I was hearing. If like an owner or someone told me something, I just believed it straight away. Yeah. And I never really sat down and like asked the tough questions. My evaluation process wasn't good. And I was kind of desperate, you could say, for like opportunity, because I wanted to like come in and swing hard. So I always felt like, newer opportunities were the best thing to do because you could create so much momentum. And oftentimes when you do that, you get into maybe ownership who doesn't have, the proper experience, the proper resources, the track record. And, so I think a lot of it was I was partnering with people who needed me more than I needed them. And I think that's where the equation was backwards.
So what would you say like your biggest letdown was that you've faced?
I mean, look, my biggest letdown was, I partnered with a company in the past and, gave it my all. And I worked there for, 18 months, gave my blood, sweat, and tears. And, when push came to shove, they basically booted me out to bring someone else in. And it was a tough thing to go through because the narrative they created around me kind of really hurt my reputation, in the industry. And I had to claw my way back.
So at that point though, like, did you ever consider quitting
Yeah,
network
many
marketing for good
times.
then?
There's actually a time where I actually, texted my wife and I told her that, sorry, I got distracted.
You're good.
So yeah, there was a time where I actually texted my wife and I told her that, I'm struggling to even get 30 people on a call. I don't think this industry is for me. And this was actually probably December of 2023. And I texted her and I said, look, like, I think I'm going to walk away from the industry and just maybe build a Discord and do a YouTube channel or something.
So at that moment though, what was going through your mind?
Just regret, frustration. I was feeling really down on myself. I felt like I couldn't build anymore. I felt like I had burned all my bridges. I felt like my stock was real low. Like, imagine 10 months before that, I was the people's champ. People saw me in the industry as someone who like took a dying company and basically put it on the map, to someone who's basically just, non-existent in the industry, and for me, it was more so about like letting other people's opinions about me actually affect me, So
I feel like a lot of people go through that.
yeah,
Obviously you went through that on a major scale, but people probably do go through a lot of that stuff, even just on their first opportunities or their first experiences. They go through some of that stuff where they really, really care about what other people think.
yeah. And honestly, bro, like really want to add to that. A lot of it was my fault. Like, okay, whatever happened to me. But like, the one thing I didn't realize at the time is that everything was happening for me, even though I was trained. Like, all the personal development I went through, like, put me in a position to go through that moment. But when you're there, you lose sight of who you are, what you are, and what you're supposed to be doing in that moment. And it was my own thoughts. Like, I was my own worst enemy at the time. And if I had just postured up and done what I was good at, I would have never faced those 10 months of chaos in my own brain. So most of it was self-inflicted, because people only have the power over you that you give them. And I'd given those people way too much power.
So I guess after all of that, I think you took a year off.
Basically, yeah.
Why did you decide to, I guess, partner with me, but also give this company a shot?
Well,
what made the opportunity different?
After I had that conversation with my wife, the very next day we sat down and we talked, and she basically looked at me and said, dude, like, you've only been in the industry for 4 years. You've done amazing things. You've mentored thousands of students all over the world. I think it would be a shame for you to walk away from your story now. So I went through the evaluation process, but this time it was different because I had gone through certain things and I knew what to ask and what to look for. And while I was going through my evaluation process, I had reached out to, some of the other owners that I still respect in the industry, and I just asked them, like, what should I be looking for? And someone that I respect a lot told me, you need to look at the who and not the what. So when I went through the evaluation process this time, I kind of knew how to see through people and really dissect their answers and understand what they're saying and not what they're actually saying. And when it came down to, meeting you, like, I knew you for almost a year, and, you and Josh were always so genuine to me. And I was really looking for consistency and competency, which, Josh has displayed over 10 years at My Daily Choice, what he's been able to do and create. And then for you, I know you face a lot of adversity. So to see you, like, back in the saddle, because I think your situation was worse than mine even. And to see you back in the saddle, locked in, inspired me. And I knew that me partnering with you would be like the craziest redemption run story in the history of network marketing. So not only from a perspective of business did it feel perfect, but I thought the story was going to be amazing.
I like that, man. I guess what advice then, based on that, would you give to someone who's maybe been burned before? Maybe not at the scale that me and you have been burned, but maybe they're just afraid to trust the industry, to trust the CEO, to trust a company. Like, what type of advice would you give them to help them know that the company that they're looking at is actually a truly, good company?
Yeah. That's a really good question. I think I'm going to kind of talk in the camera because you guys are watching this. Look, if you've been burned, if you've had people do you dirty, if you were in a company that failed or lost their merchant processing or the opportunity disappeared, you're probably thinking like, oh, this industry is not for me. There's nothing stable here. But my advice to you is you have to be extremely fluid. And take it from me, like you're going to go through hardships. Nobody on this planet is free from hardships, no matter how you look at it. You just have to have your end goal. And as long as you're leading with the end in mind, what's happening to you right now won't matter. It won't matter because you're pressing forward. You have to put one foot in front of the other. And when you're going through this process, don't focus on trust. Allow people to earn your trust, okay? You have to be very, very mindful with who you partner with. But when you have your guards up, that allows you to ask the right questions through your evaluation process. But before you even get to that point, in your mind, the thoughts between your ears, you have to start manifesting and attracting the right leaders, the right people, the right company, the right ownership, because then this will put you in a position to actually be around the right people. So that's my advice. Like, I don't ever want someone to deal with a loss and then just all of a sudden expect like, oh, everything I do is going to be a loss. That's like your aunt telling you, oh, don't join that thing because Christian joined it and he didn't make any money, right? We can't base our experiences off of someone else's past experience. And it's the same thing in love, right? Like nobody marries their first relationship, right? Like we deal with heartbreak, but we get back out there. We're on a search to find our forever partner. So never stop searching for your forever home.
Okay, so was there a moment in this company though that you felt like, okay, I made the right decision?
Yes.
When was that?
So I joined, I think it was like April or May of last year of 2024. And like Maddie knows this and Josh knows this and everybody who was part of that process knew that my guards were completely up. And it was actually hard to even build a relationship with you guys in the very beginning because of it. But there was a moment I remember when I started really like talking to Josh and I saw his unwavering commitment to the field and the brand. And it was a situation where I think it was like something had happened with like an affiliate and I saw the way Josh like just came in and fixed the situation and it was like a non-issue for him. And just the way he handled that to me, it was just like, okay, that's like someone's character, right? Like their character, their trait of who they are as a person. And that's when I knew that I should start like lowering my guards. And slowly but surely I think by the time June rolled around, bro, we were like 2 peas in a pod and everything was amazing, you know? So you do have to let people show you who they are. You can't just trust who they are.
Yeah, I fully agree with you, man. I mean, there's been several times over the last 2 years that there comes points where people can show you their true colors.
Right.
Like there's instances where, trusting, let's say Josh, could have went the wrong way. Mm-hmm. But repeatedly over time, he's just shown to be a good CEO. He's shown to put the people first. He could have cut corners. Yep. There's things that have broken with our software, with our tech. He could have taken the cheaper route, but instead he fixed everything right away. Yep. My experience when I first came into the company, he promised me that he would create an app, that he'd bring in educators, that he would create scanners. And obviously in this industry, there's a lot of CEOs that will promise you these things. Yeah. And they always tell you, it's going to come. It's coming. And they kind of just string you along. It's like dangling a carrot in front of the leader. And once you start to build an organization and once you start making money, you obviously keep going because you're like, well, I've already built here now. Right. And you are just blind to what's actually really happening. And it is, we've talked several times and been like, dude, I just feel so at peace. Yeah. That we have people that we can truly actually trust. When they tell us something, it's the truth.
Yeah, blind faith at this point, 100%.
Yeah. So I guess you guys that are listening, I hope that you heard that piece because, if you're brand new, if you're just getting started, to be able to get to the high levels, to be able to get to the higher ranks, like we talked about last week, your belief level is going to be the level of how high you'll go. If you don't believe in the company, if you don't believe in the industry, if you don't believe in your leaders, well, you're going to struggle because your belief level will always cap your success level. So what we're talking about right now can give you guys that concrete foundation that you can now build on to know what these guys have been through a lot. I know their story. If they're still here, if they're at peace, if they're happy, oh my gosh, we must have a really, 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 really good opportunity.
Can I add to that real quick? Just real quick, like from an operating perspective, like Josh and Jenna are like the best operators I think that I've ever worked with. I mean, Josh works, I think, more than us, which is crazy. I mean, he's in the trenches. He's on back-to-back Zooms with different leaders. I mean, and he's got kids. They're traveling together as a family. He shows up for his family. And he's just an excellent operator. And that's what gives me the peace that we have right now. Like, I think he's, like him and Jenna, like a lot of people ask, like, what's the secret behind the success of, you know, Akashex? And I think we always say it's Josh and Jenna. Of course, like we in the field, we're out there closing leaders and, you know, doing all of this stuff. But none of this would be possible if we wouldn't go all in the way we're going all in unless we knew for a fact that we were solid at the top. I just wanted to add that in there.
Yeah. Well, to expand on kind of that same topic of, you know, we're solid. We've obviously done something here now. People see your rank, right? They see 250K affiliate, but what they might not see is the work.
Yeah.
So what does a day in the life of Ali look like? Like, what time are you waking up? How many hours are you spending on your business? But then to expand on just that as well, because you do a lot of corporate stuff as well. Yeah. How do you balance working in the trenches with the field, but then also doing a lot of the back end stuff as well?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So like I'm a big believer in being in like a flow state, you know, like I feel like people who put themselves in schedules like specifically stress out a lot. You need to manage your day and know what you're going to do in buckets. But like my typical day starts anywhere between like 7 a.m. and 10 a.m. to be honest. It depends what time I go to sleep the night before. But I'm working from open to close, like from the time my eyes open until I go to sleep, you know? That's basically my schedule. And, you know, I don't know if there's a way to balance. I don't know if there's a way to manage, but you have to be obsessed. And I think like that obsession is what allows me to, you know, navigate things with corporate, launching new leaders, putting together systems, onboarding new people, and, you know, me, myself being in phase one to build my business, right? And it's that obsession and that drive that keeps me going. It's just like a burning desire that's just nonstop. And how you cultivate that is by believing, like I said in the beginning, working with the end in mind, right? Like, what's the end goal here? The end goal here is to create hundreds of super affiliates in our organizations, right? That's the end goal. You can't get there unless you're willing to go all in and be super obsessed with the process. So for me, I've married the process. Just like Kobe Bryant, rest in peace, the Mamba mentality, he could never tell you why he was practicing more than anyone. He could never tell you why he showed up in the gym before everyone else. He only knew that that's what he had to do. So you have to embody that like mindset that I'm obsessed and I'm married to the process, and then the rest will fall into place. Because look, there's gonna be a certain point in time in this industry where you're severely overworked and severely underpaid. But at some point, that balance ends up happening. And when that balance act happens, there's gonna be a time where you're severely overpaid and wildly underworked, right? So it's just about, you know, it's like chopping down a tree, right? You just gotta keep hitting it until you finally knock that thing down.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it.
Cool. Now, you have brought in some amazing leaders, you know, Lizanne, Armin, Wesley now. You know, obviously you have a huge organization. How did you attract those types of leaders into your business? You know, did you do it through your own credibility, social media, relationships? Like, what was when you came into the business, like what was your attack method, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good question. I think a lot of this, you know, is many, many years in the making. You know, none of this stuff really happened like overnight, as you know yourself. It's like the whole point of our industry is to build relationships and build meaningful, solid relationships that, you know, you turn friendships, strangers into friends, friends into business partners. And the biggest thing you have to do is attract it in your mind, you know? And if you know that you're going to be attracting the right leaders, if you're going to be attracting like-minded individuals into your organization, you have to believe that first. You have to manifest it. You have to empower it to come into your life, and you have to allow it. You have to allow the abundance that's meant for you to come into your life by first believing it. Once you believe that you have the best leaders in your team, you already have 10,000 people in your organization, these are all like the beginning frameworks to building something massive. Then it's the skills that come into play. So for me, I'm constantly reaching out to people in the industry, building relationships, just asking people, hey, let's hop on a call and see how we can help each other. You know, it's 2025. You've been in the industry for a long time. I've been in for 5 years. It's crazy we've never connected. Let's hop on a call and see what can happen, you know? You get on a call, go ahead.
Let's say that one more time. So you're reaching out to a leader, right?
Yeah.
Re-say what you just said, because guys, I want you to listen to this, all right? It's like when you're reaching out to potential people to get them to come into your business, that was great what you just said right there.
Thank you.
So I want them to kind of take notes of this, of what you just said.
Yeah, I'll just basically reach out to people and say, hey, like, you've been in the industry for a long time. I've been in for about 5 years. It's crazy. Like, we haven't connected yet. You know, it's 2025. Let's hop on a call and see how we can help each other, you know?
Powerful,
Very
man.
simple. And you will get a response, whether it's get out of my inbox, you know, why are you messaging me? Or it's, yeah, sure, I'm down to try to figure out how to collaborate. And you're not closing them on that first call. And your intention isn't even to close them. Your intention is to build a solid friendship, relationship with that person. And because you can't have ego in this industry. Like the whole mindset of, oh, if they can't build with you, they can't chill with you type stuff. That's so like 2018. This isn't a cult. Like, we're not preventing people from having relationships with people in other companies. We're just wanting you to get good at networking. That's the whole goal.
So what was your first major win in the company that just made you get Ollie Saleh back?
In this company?
Yeah, like where was it a point where you're like, okay, I'm back?
Oh, wow. It took a while for me to feel like I'm back. But the first month I came in, you know, we put like 260, 270 people in the business, nothing too crazy. But I couldn't transition any of my leaders. I came zero. And I knew with the Akashics product that I could phase leaders later on by creating results for customers. So we just built a team around customers and we gave them tons of results. And then we took those results to leaders and we showed them what was up. And a lot of leaders who've been out of the business, like out of the game for a while, like bringing a lot of people out of retirement to come back in, you know. Once I hit 50K, like, because all you need is one win. Like when you're in a losing streak, when you're taking some L's and like you feel like you can't make anything happen, you just need one win and then that win to compound on other wins. Once I hit 50K, I was like, okay, I'm gonna get it back. And then we went on like a few events, you know, we did like UK, Slovakia, and a few other places. After that event, after that tour, man, the amount of people who hit me up saying, you found your home, I'm so happy for you, company looks amazing. That's when I knew I was back, bro. And someone even messaged me, Paulina, if she watches this, she got on a call with me and she basically told me like, I'm so proud of you. I know your story, everything you've been through. And she basically said, anyone who doubted you did not know the God that you follow. And that to me was like everything.
Yeah. I mean, obviously not everybody's religious and you guys can believe in whatever you want, but I just feel like that is at the core of everything is if you just believe that everything that is happening around you is really just happening for you, you know, if you just stick to it and you just stay on the road and you just keep going, God has a plan for all of us.
100. And
I'm just happy that you're back, man.
Me too, bro. Feels good to be back.
I'm glad that you got through all that stuff. I want to talk about some leadership stuff. Again, a little bit more advice as well. But
yeah, for sure.
Obviously, you've seen two sides. You know, you've seen the good, you've seen the bad. But what's like your number one rule, I guess, for leadership? Like, what does real leadership look like? My thought process always has been like, people will do what you do, not what you say.
Yeah.
I guess that's mine. But like, what for you does real leadership look like?
Authenticity is super important. And I think that ties into what you just said. Like, you should you should never ask your team to do something that like you are not doing or you haven't done. That's number one. And if you want your people to do it, then do it so they do it.
Everyone that is listening to this right now, if you're still on here, take your phone out, record a video, and let everybody that watches you see that you're watching this.
Yes.
And I want to see it because I want to know, are you the type of leader that is plugged in? Because I was always the leader that was plugged in.
Right.
I was the one that always listened to the personal development because I knew that I needed to grow. And if you're watching this, every single one of you should have that type of mindset that you're doing the simple daily disciplines every single day while people are not watching. But when your team does see you doing it, they're going to do it as well because they know that you're not telling them to do things that you're not doing yourself.
100%.
I love that, bro.
Got to be authentic.
It's amazing. What's one piece of advice that you would give to someone right now, though, that's struggling? Like, how do you help someone that maybe needs to be pushed through some discouragement?
Yeah. So I think struggling is actually a mindset, right? Because what ends up happening is if you're struggling, it's because you're looking at the data, you're in management mode, and you're actually not manifesting, you're not creating, you're not in a flow state.
Yeah.
So my biggest piece of advice to people is when in doubt, zoom out. Like think of it as a chart. You know, if you're looking at the 5-minute chart on gold right now, it might be selling. But if you go look at the daily time frame, the weekly time frame, the monthly time frame, you'll see that gold has been on an absolute bullish tear for the last, 5, 10, 15, 20 years, right?
Yeah.
Especially in the last 3, 4 years, okay?
Yeah.
Now, you have to understand that in that moment when you're zooming out, you have to understand that at some point when you started in this business, when you came into this opportunity, you came in not knowing anything. So if today you know how to launch a leader, if today you know how to create duplication, if today you're hopping on calls, listening to stuff like this, you're taking notes and you're challenging yourself to grow, you're winning. All you have to do is stay consistent until you actually create that momentum. Because if you're persistent, you will get it. And then if you're consistent, you will keep it.
That's good, man. All right. So last question.
Last question.
If someone's watching this right now and they're not in our business,
Yes.
they're just watching it, and they've been burned by the industry, but deep down, they still believe in it, what do you want to tell them right now?
Okay. If you've been burned and you still believe that you deserve to create the life that you've always wanted, my piece of advice to you right now is don't quit. You need to get into your evaluation process and start talking to different companies. There are many, many amazing companies in the network marketing industry. And you have to understand right now that this industry is expected to grow $100 billion over the next decade. Could you imagine if you're able to capture even 1% of that growth, your life will change forever. So you need to put yourself in a position to challenge the status quo. Leave your emotions at the door because nobody writes paychecks down there. Nobody. You will not get paid if you're in your feelings. Put your feelings to the side, make some business decisions, start evaluating companies, and reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to give you all the tools you need to be successful. We'll show you why we feel that this is the best company and the best platform to lock arms with. But don't give up on your chance to create your destiny because you had a few bad experiences. I promise you, the only thing you'll regret is 10 years from today watching this and not taking action. So don't give up on yourself. Don't quit on your dream board, right? At one point you were manifesting, you had a dream board, you felt it, you believed that you were going to be the most successful person in your family tree. That should not change because of a few bad experiences. Every single business, every single entrepreneur goes through hardships. The ones who make it are the ones who never quit and never gave up. That's my advice.
No matter how many times you get knocked down, you're one decision away from the right future. And do not let the wrong people take you away from a brighter future.
100%.
Thank you guys. That is the Going Super Affiliate Series recap with Ali Saleh, 250K affiliate. Thank you so much, guys, for watching this. Next week, we are going to have Mr. Joey Wilson.
Let's go.
Full-blown training on how he's been able to go super affiliate and teach you guys some nuggets, teach you guys some things on how to take your business. And again, just continue to just take it to that next level, because we know as we go through this series, guys, you know, again, we started with the foundation. Now we're talking about some things that are a little bit deeper, a little more personal. A lot of you guys might have prior histories in the industry, and maybe your belief level is not where it needs to be quite yet. But I hope that after this call, now you're like, you know what? I can really believe in these guys. I can really believe in this company. You guys just helped me even increase my belief level a little bit more. So next week, we'll talk on some more nuts and bolts. We'll talk on some system type things. But guys, I hope you love the series. I'm enjoying doing this. Each week, we're going to bring on different leaders. But again, that was Ali Saleh, 250K affiliate here, soon to be 500K affiliate. Thank you so much, man, for coming.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate you.
Let's continue to crush it. See you guys.
Peace.